As you know, the Cinema Technology Committee has an award program, and we'll actually be presenting 3 awards. Let me start, of course, by thanking Dolby, because to host it in this very pleasant establishment here is our 2nd year here, and it's absolutely great. So thank you indeed for the Dolby team and the Dolby company for that. Do that. We're delighted again once more to have the presence of Mark Kermode. Mark has been a great supporter of the projection part of the cinema industry, and the cinema industry in general, of course, but in particular recognising the work that projectionists do to deliver what filmmakers want to be put on the screen.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure and an honour to be here. Citation is 4 pages, so brace yourselves. So this citation is for Aldborough Cinema on the Suffolk coast, which is nearly 100 years old, having been screening films continually since 1919. The cinema was privately run until the 1960s, when there was a threat of closure. A group of local people, including composer Benjamin Britten and his partner Peter Pears, banded together to purchase the cinema and run it on behalf of the local community. Since then, the cinema has been a community enterprise. Every year since 1995, they've run the Aldborough Cinema Documentary Film Festival, where many of the best British documentary filmmakers, including Sir David Attenborough, show their works. Aldborough screens films 7 evenings a week, with matinees on 3 days. A projection team of 4 covers these screenings, plus any other special events or hirings. Besides regular screenings, the team is experienced at showing live events via satellite. The team has to cope with various video formats when various festivals are staged at the cinema. Occasionally they also have to deal with Q&As and sometimes live music. Shall I swap with that?
Yeah, sure.
The engineers in the house.
Yeah, and ironically, the point that the microphone went off is the point which I have to read. Mark Kermode's The Dodge Brothers appeared there last year as part of the set. Apparently they were brilliant. The single-screen 255-seat cinema uses a Barcode 2K digital projector installed in 2012 through the UK Film Council with a Dolby server. They also operate a pair of vintage 35mm projectors with peerless magnets. The presentation ability of the cinema has been built up over successive decades and include DVD, Blu-ray and PC playback. The Barcode will handle all of these, but they also have a ceiling-mounted Panasonic projector. The sound system is Dolby Digital 7.1. This is an elaborate gag, isn't it?
Don't do it.
The amazingly clear sound system is Dolby Digital 7.1 with QSC amplifiers and a separate PA system with wireless mics for stage events, all of which are recordable. For live events via satellite, they currently use an iScript receiver, but are shortly to install the Landsat system, which will also provide for receiving DCPs via downloads. They have recently had the unique system installed for download delivery of Pearl and Dean ads. Our mystery shoppers who visited the Aldborough site were impressed and reported that projection is first class with attention to detail evident. For example, they adjust the volume to suit their customers, with ads and trailers running at a slightly lower level than the feature. They check sound levels in case individual films are not required. They regularly use curtains and screen masking, which can cater for any format. They always have a projectionist on site for all screenings, despite the recent introduction of additional automation. I think that in itself deserves a round of applause. The 35mm projectors are still used occasionally. All the projectionists have been trained to use the kit, and they often use the projectors for silent movies with a live accompaniment. By bands like the Dodge Brothers, who if you haven't caught them, you really should. They're just great. The projection team is Dan Champion, who sports the impressive title Head of Content Delivery. He joined the Aldborough projection team in May of this year, having previously worked for the Ipswich Film Trust as a projectionist and at Cineworld Ipswich as a projectionist and operations manager. At Aldborough, his role managing the projection team, screening films and other content, and organising all the technical requirements for festivals and other events. He does most of the setup for the week's films, but all of the team have been trained to do this, and he has been instrumental in making sure that good procedures for 35mm have also been applied to digital. Neville Parry has worked as a projectionist for nearly 50 years, from the Picture Palace in Felixstowe to long gone ABC in Ipswich. He's been at the Aldborough for 40 years, often going out of pocket in the early days to invest in equipment to keep his projection room running. Neville spent some years working as an ambulance driver and coordinator for the East Anglian Ambulance Service before committing full-time to the cinema. He's been the familiar face throughout years of changing teams, and his experience is probably the reason successive teams have worked so well together. He is now semi-retired, but having been trained on the digital equipment, is still screening films once a week, and is the expert on 35mm projectors, still used on occasions. Ian Sheward began working as a projectionist in the 1970s. He worked his way up the ranks in a system that valued long-term investment in the education of a profession. 35mm is second nature to Ian. His keen eye and attention to detail an invaluable asset during 35mm presentations. Ian left the profession after starting up his own business, handcrafting props for local theatre productions and BBC shows such as Doctor Who. He returned to projection 10 years ago as part-time relief for Neville's team. Ian is particularly keen on screening the live events such as NT Live and ROH. Vivian Fox, who has been a member of the Aldborough team for 2 years, seems to have worked in every country in the region. Even every county in the region. There are many countries in the region. It's the county that you'd never guess I was a radio presenter, would you? Learning many skills that he's put to good use at Aldborough Cinema. His journey took him to licensed cinema and positions within management and projection before he took up an offer to join the projection team at Aldborough. His high level of computer literacy has meant the assimilation of digital working practices has been an easy road. The CTC Projection Team of the Year is given to the projection team which has done the most to contribute to the professionalism and maintenance of high technical and production standards in the cinema exhibition industry. For their outstanding capability in making the very best of cinema presentation, Dan, Neville, Ian and Vivian, the team from the Aldborough Cinema, are judged to be the very worthy recipients of the Projection Team of the Year.
Come on, guys.
On stage.
I used to be as tall as they were.
Richard, could you move
Stepping
in, please?
into Sir Sidney's shoes is Richard Hundorf, is the chairman of
way,
the
guys.
Cinema Technology Committee, Warner Brothers of course. So Richard does a sterling job in terms of steering us and trying to keep order when we do our meetings. But we're very appreciative of the hard work that he puts in.
Can I just quickly mention? Does this work?
Who knows? For a while.
Every other word. Obviously, I want to thank the CTC and my team. Not all of whom are here. So we have on the end here. This is Steve Mann, who is the 5th member of our team, who we neglected to include in your citation. So apologies to Steve for that, but he is an integral part of our team also. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. Thank you. Yeah. So, thank you very much again, everybody.
Before you come in, hang on.